She still sleeps beside you, but you can feel it, can't you? The silence between you is louder than any argument you've ever had. She smiles at you, she cooks dinner, maybe she even kisses you goodnight. But somewhere deep inside, you know she's not really there anymore. Her body is next to yours, but her soul, her heart, her energy, it's already gone. And you can't stop asking yourself, when did I lose her? What did I do wrong? How did we go from passion to this emptiness I can't even put into words? Men rarely notice when a breakup begins, not the final, dramatic one with slammed doors and goodbye texts. I mean the silent breakup, the one where she disconnects piece by piece, day by day, until the woman who once looked at you with fire in her eyes now looks through you like you're just part of the furniture. And here's the cruelest part. You don't notice until it's already too late. You see, women rarely leave physically first. They leave emotionally. They leave in silence, in their mind, in their imagination of a life without you. And when you finally realize she's slipping away, it's because she's already halfway gone. That's the truth no one tells you. Think back to the beginning. Remember how she used to hang on every word you said? How her laughter filled the room when you made a joke? How she wanted to touch you constantly, your hand, your arm, your face. That's not just chemistry. That's a woman deeply invested. But when those little signs vanish, when her laughter feels forced, when her touch feels mechanical, when her eyes no longer light up in your presence, that's not stress, that's not bad mood, that's not just life getting busy. That's the sound of her love packing its bags in silence. The silent breakup isn't dramatic, but it is brutal, because you still have her physically, but every day you're losing her emotionally, and that gap between what you see and what you feel drives men insane. You start second-guessing yourself. You wonder if you're paranoid. You cling harder, hoping she'll come back emotionally if you just try more, love more, give more. But here's the mistake. The more you chase what's slipping away, the faster it disappears. I know it hurts. I know right now your chest feels tight because you've felt this before, or maybe you're feeling it right now. The truth is, women don't wake up one morning and decide to emotionally leave. It's gradual. It's small disappointments that stack up. It's unspoken needs that never get met. It's moments where she felt unseen, unheard, unloved, that you didn't even realize were happening. And while you thought everything was fine, she was quietly building a life in her head where you weren't included. Let me tell you something few men understand. When a woman silently breaks up with you, she often does it long before she ever says the words, "I'm done," which means by the time she tells you it's over, she's already been grieving the relationship for months. That's why she can look so calm when she finally walks away, while you feel like your entire world just got shattered. You're reacting to something she already processed. You're just late to the funeral of the love you thought was still alive. And maybe you're asking, why wouldn't she just tell me sooner? Why not be honest? Because women rarely announce the silent breakup. They don't want conflict. They don't want to beg you to notice. They don't want to keep saying the same thing and feel ignored. So they retreat into silence. And silence is far more deadly than shouting, because when she stops fighting, it means she's no longer invested in winning. And if she no longer wants to win with you, she's already choosing to lose you. Now here's where it gets even darker. During this silent breakup, she doesn't always leave empty. She often fills the emotional void with something or someone else. Maybe it's her friends, maybe it's her work, maybe it's the attention of another man who listens, who notices, who makes her feel alive again. While you're sitting there believing she's just tired or stressed, she might already be pouring her emotions into another connection. And by the time you realize, it's not that she found someone else, it's that she had already lost you. The silent breakup is one of the most painful experiences a man can go through because it's invisible. You don't see it until it's done. But if you learn to notice the signals, if you train yourself to feel the emotional distance early, you can stop it before she's completely gone. Because once her heart checks out, once she has rehearsed life without you in her head, pulling her back is almost impossible. There are always signs before a silent breakup fully takes over. They're subtle, almost invisible, but they're there. And the tragedy is that most men ignore them until the damage is beyond repair. If you learn to see them early, you can change everything. If you stay blind, you'll wake up one day next to a woman who loves you in routine, but not in soul. The first sign is her silence. Not the peaceful silence of comfort, but the empty silence of absence. She stops telling you about her day, about her feelings, about the little details that once filled your evenings. Instead of opening up, she retreats. Instead of asking your opinion, she makes her own decisions quietly. A woman who used to flood your phone with messages now takes hours to reply, and when she does, the words are short, dry, without warmth. That's not busyness, that's distance. The second sign is her absence of conflict. You think you should be relieved. Finally, no fights, no arguments, no drama. But here's the truth. When a woman stops fighting, it means she stopped caring. Arguments are painful, yes, but they are proof she still wants something from you. The day she stops complaining, stops asking, stops pushing, that's the day she has already accepted a version of life where she no longer counts on you. Indifference, not anger, is the real funeral bell of love. The third sign is her body language. She might still be there physically, but her body tells a different story. She pulls away when you touch her. She leans to the side when you sit next to her. Her hugs are shorter, colder, with no lingering. The intimacy that once felt magnetic now feels like obligation. And here's the cruel part. She often doesn't even realize she's doing it. Her heart has already withdrawn, and her body follows without her having to say a word. The fourth sign is distraction. She's on her phone more than usual. She spends longer hours at work or suddenly finds new hobbies that don't include you. She's glued to her social media, laughing at her screen. But when you ask what's so funny, she just says nothing. Her attention is drifting, and you can feel it. You sense her excitement exists elsewhere, but she no longer wants to share it with you. The fifth sign is when your presence stops making her light up. Pay close attention to her eyes when you walk into the room. Once they sparkled when she saw you. Now they barely flicker. She used to drop everything when you called her name. Now she just nods without lifting her gaze. A woman's eyes are windows into her desire, and when her eyes stop dancing in your presence, that's a truth you can't ignore. And then there's the most painful sign of all. She starts imagining another man, even if she doesn't say it out loud. Maybe it's an ex she suddenly checks in on. Maybe it's a new coworker she mentions one too many times. Maybe it's just the fantasy of a man who listens, who notices, who makes her feel alive. Understand this. Emotional betrayal often begins long before physical betrayal. And the moment she starts dreaming of someone else, you've already lost a piece of her heart. Now, you might be tempted to brush off these signs as paranoia. You might tell yourself, she's just tired, she's just busy, but ignoring them is the exact reason men wake up blindsided when she finally says, I can't do this anymore. It wasn't sudden. It wasn't overnight. It was 1,000 little exits you refused to see. So what should you do when you notice these signs? Most men react with panic. They demand answers, push harder, try to force her back into closeness, but that only drives her further away. Why? Because closeness cannot be demanded. It must be inspired. A woman cannot be convinced to feel again. She must be reminded. And you might think the silent breakup starts with distance, but the truth? It often starts with you. Not because you're unworthy, not because you're a bad man, but because nobody ever taught you the small, invisible ways men lose a woman's heart. See, most men think women leave because of big mistakes, cheating, betrayal, a massive fight. But in reality, most women slip away because of the everyday moments where they felt unseen. It's not the one time you forgot her birthday. It's the 100 times you didn't look up from your phone when she was speaking. It's not the one night you came home late. It's the countless nights you laid next to her but made her feel like she was sleeping alone. She doesn't leave because of a single storm. She leaves because of the silent drought. And here's the dangerous part. You don't notice the drought because to you, everything feels normal. Men are logical. You think, she's here, she's not complaining, so everything must be fine. But women are emotional, and emotions don't vanish in a flash. They wither in silence. Every time she opened her heart and you didn't truly hear her, a part of her closed. Every time she wanted affection and you brushed it off, she built another wall. Every time she hinted she was unhappy and you didn't take it seriously, she whispered to herself, He doesn't get it. He'll never get it. And the worst part? You thought you were doing everything right. You thought providing, being there physically, keeping the peace, that was enough. But women don't just want peace. They want passion, presence, connection. They want to feel chosen every single day, not just in the beginning. And when she stops feeling chosen, she doesn't usually complain out loud. She just starts building a life in her head without you. That's why you can be lying next to her, arm around her body, yet still feel her slipping through your fingers. That's why her touch feels different. That's why her smile no longer reaches her eyes. It's not random, it's not mood swings, it's a silent goodbye. Now, let me reveal something painful but necessary. By the time you start noticing, she's already tested, leaving you in her mind. Women rehearse the breakup before they ever do it. She imagines living in a different home, going out with her friends without you, talking to another man who makes her laugh in a way you haven't in months. She rehearses it until it feels real, and once it feels real, the physical breakup is just paperwork. The real breakup already happened inside her heart. And here's where most men destroy themselves. They sense her pulling away, and instead of stepping into strength, they fall into desperation. They beg, they smother. They start chasing a woman who's already emotionally gone. And nothing kills attraction faster than chasing what doesn't want to be caught. You can't beg a woman to feel what she no longer feels. You can't force her heart to reopen by overwhelming her with need. Because the silent breakup is not about what she says, it's about how she feels. And feelings don't bend to begging. So what do? You have two choices. The weak choice, the one most men make, is to cling harder, to trade your power for her scraps of attention, to lose yourself in the desperate hope that if you just love harder, she'll return. But the strong choice, the choice that keeps a woman's respect, even if she leaves, is to step back into your own gravity. To stop asking, why doesn't she love me like before? And start asking, why did I lose myself in this relationship? Because here's the truth. Women don't just fall out of love with men. They fall out of love with the version of you who stopped being the man she first admired. The man who once had drive, mystery, ambition, edge. Somewhere along the way, maybe you softened too much. Maybe you got too comfortable. Maybe you thought love meant you could stop showing up as the man she fell for. But women crave a man who doesn't need her for validation. They crave a man who stands so firmly in himself that she feels lucky to stand beside him. That's why the silent breakup hurts so badly. It exposes the gap between the man you were and the man you've become. And if you don't face that truth, you'll repeat the same heartbreak with the next woman, and the next, until you learn the lesson life is screaming at you right now. She doesn't leave because of who you are. And listen carefully. If you're feeling this silent breakup right now, if her eyes don't shine for you anymore, if her touch feels cold, if her words feel shallow, it's not the end yet. But it will be, unless you wake up. Unless you remember the man she once looked at with fire. Because women don't respect a man who begs. They don't desire a man who clings, but they will fight for a man who makes them fear losing him. And if you want to stop her silent breakup from becoming a real one, you must shift, not into desperation, but into strength. When you realize she's already halfway gone, your first instinct will be to panic, to chase her, to demand explanations, to ask, "Do you still love me?" But let me be brutally honest with you. Those questions don't pull her closer. They push her further away. Because the moment you start chasing, you shift from being the man she once admired to the boy she no longer respects. Understand this. Women don't leave men they admire. They leave men who make them feel they are carrying all the weight of the relationship. And nothing screams weakness louder than begging a woman to stay when her heart already wants to leave. Respect is oxygen to attraction. And when you suffocate respect, desire dies instantly. So if you feel her slipping, don't collapse into desperation. Don't bombard her with texts. Don't argue late into the night trying to solve what she no longer wants to fix. Instead, you must do the hardest thing a man can do when faced with rejection. Step back, not in anger, not in cold silence, but in quiet strength. You must show her and yourself that your world doesn't end because she's drifting away. This is where most men fail. They think pulling back means ignoring her, playing games, giving her the silent treatment. Number. That's not strength, that's immaturity. Strength is presence without need. It's the calm confidence of a man who knows his value doesn't depend on her approval. It's showing up with purpose, energy, and drive. Not for her, but because you refuse to abandon yourself. Do you want to know the paradox? The less you chase her when she's gone inside, the more she feels the weight of losing you. When you stop begging for her affection, when you redirect your energy back into your own life, she starts to notice the absence of the man she took for granted. She starts to feel something she hasn't felt in a long time: fear. Fear of losing a man who doesn't need her to survive, because deep down, every woman craves a man who could walk away, a man who has the strength to stand alone, a man who isn't bound by her moods, her distance, or even her threats to leave. That's the kind of man who ignites desire, not because he's cold, but because he's untouchable by desperation. And once you become untouchable, she has no choice but to look at you differently. But this is not about playing hard to get. This is about becoming hard to lose. There's a difference. Playing hard to get is manipulation. Becoming hard to lose is transformation. It means living with such purpose, with such fire, with such presence, that she feels lucky to be chosen by you. And if she decides to walk away, she knows she'll never find another man who carries himself like you do. Ask yourself, when was the last time you lived for more than her? When was the last time you chased your own growth, your own dreams, your own passions? When was the last time she saw you as the man who inspired her, not just the man who shared a bed with her? Because the silent breakup often happens when she no longer feels inspired by your presence. And the cure is not in fixing her, it's in fixing yourself. This is where you must rebuild your frame, your boundaries, your energy, not with words but with actions. Hit the gym, not to impress her, but to remind yourself of your own strength. Pursue your goals, not to prove her wrong, but to reclaim the ambition she once admired in you. Lead your own life, not because she's drifting, but because you refuse to drift with her. And something powerful happens when you do this. She notices. Maybe not instantly, maybe not with fireworks, but slowly she feels the shift. She feels your presence sharpen. She feels your confidence rise. She feels your absence of desperation. And in that shift, she remembers. She remembers. The silent breakup is the cruelest kind of ending, not because she leaves overnight, but because she disappears piece by piece while still lying next to you. And if you've ever felt it, you know the pain is unlike anything else. It's not the slamming of doors. It's the quiet moments when she no longer laughs at your jokes. It's the dinners eaten in silence. It's the hugs that feel like polite gestures instead of passion. It's watching her body stay while her heart slips away into another world where you don't exist. But here's the truth that most men never learn. The silent breakup is not just about her, it's about you. It's a test of who you are when love feels like it's dying. Do you collapse, cling, beg, and lose yourself? Or do you rise, reclaim your fire, and become the kind of man no woman can easily walk away from? Because the silent breakup is not just the end of a relationship, it's the beginning of your transformation, if you choose it to be. You see, the reason the silent breakup destroys so many men is because they tie their identity to whether a woman stays or goes. They believe love is proof of their worth, but your worth has nothing to do with whether she chooses you today or leaves tomorrow. Your worth is in how you carry yourself when she's testing your strength. Do you crumble? Or do you stand tall, reminding her and yourself that you were a man before her and you will be a man after her? Let me be clear. Not every relationship can be saved. Sometimes, no matter what you do, she will still walk away. But that's not failure. Failure is losing yourself trying to hold on to someone who already left you inside. Strength is letting go with dignity. Power is walking away without hatred, without desperation, without losing the man you fought so hard to build. And here's the paradox. When you stop fearing her silence, when you stop reacting to her withdrawal with panic, something shifts. Sometimes she comes back, not because you begged, but because she sees the man she thought was gone has returned. Other times, she doesn't come back at all. But in both cases, you win. Because you didn't let the silent breakup break you. You let it refine you. Every man watching this right now has a choice. You can ignore the signs, pretend she still loves you the same, and one day get blindsided when she packs her things. Or you can open your eyes, face the reality of where her heart is, and step into the kind of presence that either reignites her fire or carries you into a future where you never beg for love again. The silent breakup is a mirror. It shows you the cracks in yourself you tried to ignore. It reveals where you stopped leading, where you stopped growing, where you stopped inspiring. It's painful, yes. It feels unfair, yes. But it's also the greatest gift you'll ever receive because it forces you to become undeniable, to become the kind of man who doesn't just hold on to love, but commands it through who he is. And if you're listening to this right now, I know one thing. Deep down, you don't want to live as the man who gets silently abandoned. You want to live as the man she fears losing, the man who doesn't beg, doesn't chase, doesn't collapse, the man who stands in strength, in respect, in self-mastery. That man doesn't just survive the silent breakup, he rises because of it. So ask yourself right now, in the quiet of this moment, if she left tomorrow, who would you be? Would you break, or would you build? Would you beg for her to stay? Or would you walk away as the man she will remember for the rest of her life? The answer to that question will define you far more than whether she stays or goes. And now I have a question for you. Have you ever felt a woman drift away in silence while pretending everything was fine? How did you handle it? And what did it teach you about yourself? Drop your story in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this today. Let's help more men understand the truth women will never say out loud, because your strength may save not only your relationship but yourself.